I believe it was Gary Kelly made the quote, "There's no better time than the present." And that's where most people stop at. There's no better time than the present. However, there is another part of that quote. The continuation of it says, to be better than we were yesterday. I believe that is correct. There is no better time than the present to be better than we were yesterday. There is no better time than the present to be better. Because if you look around the state of affairs, the chaos, this sham of true democracy that we are touting as big brother to the world, it has become laughable, humorous, insulting. There is an obvious mindset that is rearing its ugly head. Now, if you want to sit in your comfortable chair, your buffered space, and say everything's good, you have a right to do so. But it doesn't make it real. And because your delusions of normalcy, are okay with you, it doesn't make them the true reality of others. And I'm not going to accept it. We look at the state of affairs and I hear, well, actually I'm not hearing the loud voices like we were hearing with the riots and demonstrations. Everybody's gotten quiet. It's been a couple of weeks since I did a blog out loud because I've been listening, trying to hear the relevant streams of thought, the plans of action. And what I've been hearing has been relevant, but not necessarily logical. Consistent, but not necessarily feasible. But real thoughts coming from real people. And right, wrong, or indifferent, everybody's entitled to their own thoughts. You know, the latest organized misdirection, or not, the COVID Trump scenario. We can go a number of ways on that one. So I'm not going to spin in the mud debating or deliberating or pondering whether it's real or not and the ramifications there. But whatever side of the fence you're on, you have to acknowledge that if this is a sham, then it is a sham of the most insulting degree. And if it is not a sham, then we have to, in our hearts, not say well deserved, because that doesn't make us better. Doesn't mean we took the high road. doesn't mean that we interacted as we should. And if we are somewhere in the middle or have no thoughts on the scenario, then what are we tuned into? A friend of mine said, let's go to the gun show and get some ammo. Gotta load up, be prepared. Listen, I'm going to go and get and keep and maintain my ammo because I always have, not because I'm prepping for a race war, but because I've always prepped for me. I didn't just acquire a weapon legally, licensed, legitimately, deservedly. I didn't just. This has been for as long as I can remember. So prepping now makes me different. It is if I'm prepping for something that's infeasible. But my retort to that is, everybody's talking about revolution. No, not even revolution. Everybody's talking war, prepare, battle. What they need to be talking is revolution. And revolution on different levels. Now, revolution starts in the spirit, the heart, the emotions, because there has to be something to drive the cause. And from there, you have to develop your cause, because a blank piece of paper does not an essay make, even if you thought about it really nice. So you have to develop the mental resources, the intellectual resources that will allow you to manage the physical, the tangible resources that would be involved in your cause, how to direct those. A war does not an evolution or a revolution make. Same root word, evolution, revolution. So I'm going to go on record and say that revolution is the second coming of the evolution, because we all evolve whether we want to or not in some form or fashion, even if it's just physically. The revolution is the re-evolving, if you will. It is the spurning of, the implementation of, the cause of change. It's the breaking of the chains and propelling yourself and others forward. That's not always and can't always be a physical thing. Now, I'm not spitting Martinisms at you, because if we look at history, my all-time favorite would be Malcolm X. A lot of people see him as a revolutionary in the sense of a rebel. See, when we say revolutionary, we tend to think that the person was more so of the physical nature. They were about causing the physical part of the revolution, the war part, the fighting part. How many people have you heard of Malcolm X shooting? How many people have you heard of Malcolm X getting into a physical fight with? Read the biographies. Watch the documentaries. Listen to the stories. It wasn't that he was incapable. He was highly capable. But it was that he was of a different mindset. He didn't say, go shoot somebody. He said, don't just be a target. He said, empower yourself mentally and empower yourself physically. Hope for the best, prepare for the best, but be able to handle yourself in the worst. And this is the same mindset we need to continue, we need to carry. The first option shouldn't be to grab a gun. First option shouldn't be to fight. Yeah. I am a martial artist since childhood. I love to put on the gear. I love the contest. And I teach my students to defend themselves. And not just defend themselves, but defend yourselves accordingly. If somebody comes at you with a knife, my grandmaster would say the knife must taste blood. If they draw the knife and come at you. But he didn't say you had to kill him. He didn't even imply it. But he did say, make them think about coming back at you. I teach people that I teach the same thing. If they come at you wrong, you defend yourself and you make them think about what they have done and how it caused them pain because they came at you. Now, the battle is just a piece of the war. This is why we see the riots go on and afterwards they calm down and we still have these same lingering issues because these are just battles. If you win a battle but yet you lose the war, then you have lost. The object, people, the goal, my brothers and sisters, my friends, my loved ones, the goal is to win the war. That takes strategy, that takes planning, that takes empowerment, that takes a building up of a people. And this people has been broken down over hundreds of years. I'm not surprised when I hear this is my first time voting. I'm not surprised when I hear I didn't make it because it wouldn't matter. I'm not surprised when I hear, oh, I voted for the monkey or I wrote my own name in. I'm not surprised when I hear these things. I'm shocked. I'm shocked that in this day and age that we still think that it's funny, that we still think that it works against what has been put in place. I'm shocked that we still feel like it's just going to be handed over. Whether you or we or I are owed or not. You already know the world you live in. Empower yourselves, empower your friends, family, children, loved ones, empower others. Form a union because we're all part of the universe. And at some point, we all have to interconnect and interact. Now, is that going to be a positive or a negative? But again, you have to empower yourself. And that starts within. If there is no development from within, then all of the physical resources will do you no good. And while you may win a battle or 10, you will lose the war. Because no matter how many guns you buy, you will be outgunned. War, battle, revolution. What's your choice? Make it, and then make the change. Because there's no better time than the present. Thoughts from the basement.